So where is Melania? Well, we know she's selling meme coins, or I'm not sure if you can even calling that. We know her meme coin is absolutely tanking and it's lost over 83% of its value. We know she's selling a documentary of herself that no one wants to watch to Amazon for like $40 million. Can you say quid pro quo, Jeff Bezos? But where is she? I mean, seriously, she did attend on Thursday a ceremony giving former First Lady, the late Barbara Bush, a stamp. More on that in a little bit. But that was one of, I would say, maybe 4 or 5 times we've actually seen Melania. You know, the New York Times wrote this article, and this is what it's called, A Most Sensitive Subject in the White House. Where is Melania? I mean, she doesn't want to be anywhere near Donald Trump. I mean, we've known that and we've reported that before. You know, it's funny. In this article from the New York Times, they're like, you know, sources charitably say she's been at the White House about 14 times in the 100+ days that Donald Trump's been in office, charitably. I think that probably means she's been there about 4 or 5 days. So, like, where is she physically? I think she's most frequently in New York, which Donald Trump calls a hellscape, and they love to attack New York. And she's at the apartment there where Barron goes to school. And then I think also she's at Mar-a-Lago, but she doesn't want to be anywhere near Donald unless she's making money and grifting, or unless she's making a public appearance, like when she was at Pope Francis's funeral, which Donald Trump said, "Oh, that's such an incredible funeral, such a great time." Yeah, who calls it a great time? Let me show you what went down first on Thursday, where she was at this Barbara Bush stamp ceremony that I think nobody wanted her to be at. I mean, here's what she said. It's hard to even understand what she's saying, but here's what she said at this Barbara Bush ceremony. Play this clip.
The unveiling of this commemorative stamp honors Barbara Bush's contributions as First Lady and her enduring impact on our nation. May this tribute inspire us to lead with compassion, act with strength, and uphold the values that direct us toward meaningful existence. Thank you.
But as we go through the Melania appearances, if you will, it's about grifting. It's about making money for herself. Take a look at the official Melania meme coin, $Smelania. That's what they call it. You see what that looks like right there with the green going all the way up and then crashing? Well, I guess you could say that that's what Donald Trump has turned the American economy into. It's like a Smelania or $Trump meme coin. But there she is. The meme coin's absolutely an utter disaster. By the way, with Trump memes coin, I think there were like 50 wallets that made money and 776,000 that lost money, just literally screwing people over. Then right here, it says, First Lady Melania Trump scores win for America's foster youth with $25 million investment. That was one of the PR scams they wanted to announce. Funding is a game changer in providing young adults with access to short-term housing assistance. So I'm like, she secures an investment, $25 million. That sounds like a lot of money. What are we talking about here? So you got to go into the article, and they're talking about they're acting like she secured this. Melania announced Friday that a $25 million foster youth investment will be included in Trump's 2026 fiscal year budget. The funds will go to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Foster Youth to Independence program to support young people who are transitioning out of foster care. Let me be very clear. Way more money than $25 million should be invested in HUD and specifically this program. But this is one of those examples where Melania is a scammer and Fox is a scammer, and they treat us all like we're actually stupid. Because if you actually look at the budget, $26 billion with a B has been cut from HUD in their Section 8 housing portion alone. $33 billion total from HUD. But when it comes to rental assistance programs and just in general helping low-income Americans and other low-income Americans and foster care Americans, just generally, we're talking about $26.7 billion to $33 billion in cuts. And they're acting like $25 million is somehow a win that Melania secured, as though it's her money. Don't they act like this is their money? It's the taxpayer money. And what you're actually doing in this budget is you're adding $120 billion more to defense spending so you can have $1 trillion. You're adding $44 billion to immigration crackdown so you can do publicity stunts and not actually do deportations with dignity or actually have a functioning immigration system. But yes, $33 billion cut from HHS, $12 billion from education funding, $15 billion from infrastructure funding on climate change, $34 billion from HUD, and it's eviscerating HUD by over 40%. So don't brag about we should be thankful for what you're doing here. Because what you're really doing, Melania, is while nobody sees you at the White House and you spent like 4 days there, here we have over here what Melania is doing. She's selling necklaces for $600 and $200. That's what she is doing. But may I bring some receipts, Melania? Because first, let me show you what you're complicit in. This is Melania when Donald Trump was running the first time, where she said that it was merely locker room talk when Donald Trump brags about sexually assaulting women, which Donald Trump was found liable for sexual assault as well. Here's Melania. I don't feel bad for her. She is a complicit actor in all of this. Here, play this clip.
He described it as locker room talk. Mm-hmm. To you, I mean, you sort of alluded to that as well. Is that what it is to you, just locker room talk?
Yeah, it's kind of two teenage boys. Actually, they should behave better, right?
He was 59.
Correct. And sometimes I said, I have 2 boys at home. I have my young son and I have my husband. So, but I know how some men talk, and that's how I saw it. Yes.
I can't even begin to imagine all of the money that I've spent on skincare and beauty products over the years to battle issues like acne and damaged hair and eczema, change in hair color, rashes, etc. But I recently realized that I was completely overlooking the most fundamental step, the water I shower in. Jolie is a beauty wellness company that purifies the water we shower in for better skin, hair, and overall well-being. Jolie's filtered showerhead is best in class for removing chlorine and heavy metals. It's the only lab-tested and clinically trialed filtering showerhead on the market. Jolie is clinically proven to reduce hair shedding in 81% of people, lab-tested to reduce hair frizziness by 40%, lab-tested to maintain color retention, and lab-tested to protect the hair's surface layer. Jolie showerheads have a beautiful, sleek design, the perfect combination of form and function. Jolie still gives strong water pressure and fits all showers, as the plumbing pipe size is universal. Jolie will give you your best skin and hair guaranteed. Head to jolieskinco.com/Meidas to try it out for yourself with free shipping. That's jolieskinco.com/Meidas for free shipping. And if you don't like it, you can return your Jolie for a full refund within 60 days. No questions asked. Jolie is also available on Amazon and select Ulta stores. Get yours now.
So now let me pull out some receipts, shall I? Let me introduce you to Natasha Stoynoff, who alleges Donald Trump assaulted her. Play this clip.
My name is Natasha Stoynoff. In 2005, I went to interview Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. At one point, Melania went upstairs to change her clothes for the next photo shoot. And Trump said to me, I want to show you this beautiful painting, this beautiful room. He leads me to this room, pushes me against the wall, and starts kissing me forcefully. I tried to push him. He kept coming back at me. I was in shock and smothered, and he had his hands here against my shoulders. I felt sick inside. I felt horrified. And thank goodness the butler charges into the room. Like many women, I blamed myself. So Trump turned to me and said, "You know we're going to have an affair, don't you?" And Melania was approaching. I was horrified. When the Access Hollywood tape came out, and also stories of many other women, including E. Jean Carroll, I realized I was not to blame, that he was just a predator of women. What could have happened if the butler had not come into the room? Donald Trump is an adjudicated sexual assaulter.
Now let me introduce you to Jessica Leeds, who alleges that Donald Trump assaulted her.
1979, I had gotten on an airplane. The stewardess said to me, "Would you like to come up to first class?" In the window seat was a gentleman, said that his name was Donald Trump. The airplane took off, and all of a sudden, Donald Trump started groping me. He was trying to kiss me, and I'm trying to push him away. He was basically overpowering me. When he started putting his hand up my skirt, I got out of the seat, grabbed my purse, and went back to my original seat. And I certainly was shook up by the whole thing. 2 years later, at this fundraiser, up comes Trump and his wife. And he looked at me and he said, "I remember you. You're that cunt from the airplane." Donald Trump views women as for his entertainment. He is a serial predator. He has said it point blank, and he's done it, and he will continue to do it.
Let me introduce you to Stormy Daniels. Here's what she has to say.
Oh, is this the one?
It's another.
Let me introduce you to Karen McDougal. Here's what she has to say.
You said you had sex that first time. All these times you saw him, this was an ongoing sexual relationship.
Absolutely.
Can you estimate how many times you actually saw him?
I can tell you we saw each other a minimum 5 times a month, up to bigger numbers per month. So
Over the course of how long?
So we were together 10 months before I chose to end it. So we saw each other quite frequently.
So dozens of times you were together.
Many dozens of times.
And you were intimate.
Yes.
Many dozens of times. Did he ever use protection?
No, I didn't.
Was that something you thought about, or it didn't concern you at the time?
You know, we talked about it right beforehand. He was starting to, and then he's like, "I don't like these things," and you know, we discussed things. Do you blah blah blah? And we were just honest with each other, and we didn't use any.
Now, Russia is enjoying all of this. As part of their mockery of Donald Trump in the United States, state regime media in Moscow has frequently been showing Melania nudes over and over again while their hosts mock Melania over and over again. And they show all her photos from when she was a nude model. That's what you want to call it. Melania had previously posted, "Why do I stand proudly behind my nude modeling work?" And by the way, I showed you Karen McDougal. There's Karen McDougal. There's Ivanka. There's Melania, all standing there partying together. That was shortly around the Epstein days for Donald, when he would party with Epstein. Right, it was right around that time period, a little later, I think, but in the late 90s. And we all know how Melania met Donald Trump. Of course, she was introduced by a guy named Paolo Zampoli, who now has some like ambassadorship. Donald Trump appointed him to a big like ambassadorship role, but he ran a modeling agency. She was an Eastern European model. He would have the models show up at these parties at the Kit Kat Club. Wealthy Manhattan men would be invited in the 90s. And that's how Melania ultimately met Donald through that. Now, I had the opportunity to interview Stephanie Winston Wilkoff about all of this. This was a little bit before the election, but here Stephanie Winston Wilkoff tells me what she thinks about all of this. Play this clip.
Melania, and I always say this, everything she does is intentional. And every appearance she makes is something that, again, she lets her clothing speak for herself. You know, she does not plan on putting herself in a position where she's going to be the object of conversation unnecessarily. I think Melania and Donald, and I've said it all along, you know, it is the Mark Burnett rollout production show. Their marriage was one made for both of them that put them both on the map. And strategically, it made them both, you know, acceptable to millions of Americans' homes that they were entering into with The Apprentice. So we have to roll back to really understand their relationship as to what legitimized their relationship, making her the supermodel and making him the businessman. And now here we have a woman, a mother, a wife, who has not been by her husband's side whatsoever. And I would say several years ago, she would have been there more. Now, after the conviction that Donald has just faced with the hush money criminal felony case in New York City, she's going to be around less and less. He will continue to move forward. His base doesn't need her there, nor do they really, would it really change the dial in whether or not they were consider him as their be-all, end-all, because they will. But as far as Melania is concerned, she's going to keep her head low. She's going to only do what she wants to do. But she and Donald, I do not believe, are ever going to part ways.
I wonder now when it comes to Melania, though, if one of the things she's nervous about is what happened to Donald Trump's first wife, Ivana. Remember when the Daily Mail reported that Trump's wife, first wife, Ivana, was buried in a cordoned-off grave in Bedminster that was barely visible in a completely overgrown area in the 506-acre golf course, apparently or allegedly, so Donald Trump could get tax exemptions or tax write-offs by turning the golf course into a cemetery in an area where he buried his first wife after she fell downstairs. Well, anyway. Okay. No Melania. I guess she's talking about stamps. Who knows? Grifting, losing money for people. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
New Midas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.MeidasTouch.com.